Okay, welcome to this week on BackChat, powered by Paywise in season 2025. Excited to have this man, a skipper. That's right, Dom Cassisi from the Port Adelaide Footy Club joins me all the way from South Australia. G'day, Dom. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Scully. I'm good, mate. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it as well. So I know you've watched a couple of these episodes, which I like. We ask the same question every guest we ever have on. Thanks to TABtouch this season. I want to start with, now we will get into the fact that you were best and fairest in a premiership year, you're a premiership player, you're captain of the club, club's on its knees, Dom Cassisi leads it out into, I don't know where it got to, but you certainly, led through some tough times. We'll get into all of that. I know you can play football, very good football player, but I want to know your greatest sporting achievement, not on the football field. I want to know what you can do that's not footy, mate. Like, you can play footy. So what? I was an under 9 state champion in the flags. So I was a nipper, Jan Juck Surf Lifesaving Club at Lawn. One of the great, spectacles you would have ever seen. Big skinny, lanky kid in the beach flags. I'm a state champion. You got something for me?
I have. I don't know if you've set me up here or if it's just a standard question.
Standard question, mate.
Okay, so this is something I don't like admitting to, but I cop it a fair bit. But I was actually, came third in the state championships in WA for the walk.
You're a walker.
Yeah, the power walk, the 1,500-metre walk.
We're talking Nathan Deeks. We're talking Jane Saville. We're talking
all them. Yeah,
we're talking Dom Cassisi. So, mate, how do you get into walking, race walking?
Wow, yeah, exactly right. So just little athletics down at Maddington, and one of the athletics coaches there, she was right into it. So she basically gave us no choice other than to make sure you had a good go at it. And next minute, I'm at Perry Lakes in the state championships.
Really?
I'm rolling around there, and yeah. So, but yeah, it's funny. Like when the Olympics are on. And mates back home or the very few people that used to know, they'd just send me footage of it and go, mate, what were you thinking and stuff like that. But there's no disrespect to those supreme athletes that do it today, but yeah.
So the reason for that is if you don't know race walking, you haven't seen it, there's a fair bit of technique involved. People think, you just go for a walk around the park. No, you're effectively, you're just under a fast run, but you're walking. You got to have heel contact first. You got to have one foot on the ground. You taught me through it. I mean, you're the walker.
Mate, very technical. It is very technical. It looks easy, but it's not.
Straight lock out.
You can't have both feet off the ground at the same time.
You got to be locking out, don't you? Don't your knees locking out?
Yeah, straight. You got to straighten them out. There was a lot to it. I mean, I can't even remember all the technical stuff, but.
So you got the bronze medal. You're a bronze medalist.
I'm a bronze medalist.
That's brilliant. So, well, mate, I mean, that's a good start. You're a West Australian. I don't know how many people sort of know that. You grew up here in Western Australia. What was life like growing up, mate? Have you got siblings? Plenty of sport, obviously?
Yeah, no, I've got an older brother. He's 2 years older. And we had the same interests, footy, cricket. We were both into our golf and we were pretty young as well. And but I've made great childhood memories, like really, really good. Grew up in Maddington for the first 12 years. Which, it was good fun. We had a great footy team from junior ages, from under sevens, and had good coaches. And I think footy in Maddington was an outlet for a lot of the kids, and so it'd be the highlight of a lot of the kids' lives. Really, come to footy training and being around the boys and all that sort of stuff. So being together and feeling that family connection. So it was really, really enjoyable time.
So what about growing up then? Are you thinking, I'm going to be a sports person, I'm going to be a professional AFL player? Was that a dream? Was it a reality? Or was it something that sort of come onto you as you got older?
Oh, I was obsessed with footy. I remember going to work with Dad when I was 10 and just had the footy in my hands. And if, all I need was a tree and try and hit the tree with the footy and I'd be wrapped. But, I remember I was 10 when West Coast won the 92 flag. And I remember that right. I remember that now. It was the best moment of my life. It was just unbelievable. And I get goosebumps now talking about it because I was literally I remember, I'll never forget it. I was literally the kid going, wow, imagine doing that one day. But at that age, you're just enjoying your footy, like I said, grew up in Maddington and we were just, the neighbourhood would just be the streets kicking footy. kicking the footy. So you don't really know where it's going to go. And like, I didn't make the state 16s team. I was too slow, got told all that feedback. So it all happened for me, like really where I thought it was a chance to get drafted. It was literally, I reckon, about 3 months before the draft, after the 18s carnival, where it all sort of ramped up. Up until then, it was, it wasn't really on the radar.
Well, so I actually just I've got in front of me the draft sort of profile. It's like leadership great, skills great, good footy player, actually has pace. Bronze medal Walker in the little athletics. No, we can't draft him. He's too slow. Is that what it said? You did yourself in, mate. They thought they wanted to draft athletes, and you get a Walker.
No, mate. Well, if I was a recruiting officer, manager, if I was a recruiting manager, head of recruitment, and I saw that on someone's profile, I'm like, yeah, he's not cut out for footy.
Where were you drafted or rookie? Where did they pick you up?
I was picked 50. So ended up East Freo.
Yeah, I was picked 50 too. We're picked 50 buddies. 50s. Geez, a bit of quality there.
There is, yeah.
With you, and then they got me.
Yeah. So it was, I was picked 50 and drafted from East Freo. But tell you what, the draft day was shocking. But we can delve into that if you want. But,
dive right into it. What happened?
Oh, so it was. So Channel 7 invited 5 or 6 of us, the Channel 7 studios to watch the draft. So it was like Daniel Kerr, myself, Richard Hadley, a few of the other guys. And so we're at Channel 7 studios, and now all the boys there, they got picked up in the top 20, right? So, they're all first rounders almost. But I think by pick 22, everyone else in the room had been drafted. So you're there with your parents and that. And you can imagine, they all just want to go they just want to go celebrate with their mates, go have a beer or with their family and their friends and all that sort of stuff. And so we're sitting through the 20s and that goes, and then you're sitting through the pick 30 to 40 and you're still sitting there. And then it's like, then you're into the 40s. And I remember turning to my mum and just going, this potentially could be, I could potentially be the first person ever invited to the Channel 7 studios for the draft, not get drafted. So, mate, when my name got called out, but that's so I didn't care. I was just like, I don't care where I go, or I just need someone please call out my name.
Curry would have left the building, definitely. Curry would have been gone. He wouldn't have been.
Curry was out. He was already he was already out and about, I reckon, by that stage. But anyway, so I felt sorry for the boys. I said sorry for sticking around for another hour and a half. But yeah, it was a relief in the end.
So you go to Port Adelaide, where gone are the days you get to stay at home, especially if you're West Australian. Difficult concept for that with only 2 teams in the comp. You head to Port Adelaide. What are your first thoughts on heading to Adelaide to play?
Well, it's interesting. So at the draft camp, you know how you walk around and the clubs book you in for a meeting. Yeah. So I met with a fair few clubs, and Curry met with Port Adelaide before me. So, and I remember I sort of walked out of my dorm and I see Kerry dripping in sweat, and he's like, mate, if I get drafted to Port Adelaide, I'm not going. But, mate, that was the worst interview I ever had because Choco was full on. Like, Choco would just, it was just, it was very intimidating in the meetings. So I sort of knew what to expect. But when I went in there and I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I'm not, that's the last place you'd ever want to go there is playing with that bloke. Because he was just so brutal. So anyway, I sort of went over there, tail between the legs a little bit, but that was offset with the relief of getting drafted and just getting an opportunity. So I'd never been to Adelaide before. And then like back in Adelaide back then, you had to walk on the tarmac when the plane landed. It was a hot day. I reckon my heavies nearly stuck to the tarmac when we got stuck out there. It was that hot. But anyway, we got the club and it was all right.
Well, mate, I did another podcast with Dill Buckley, and bit of the reverse roles here. And I told this story about draft camp, and it was the first night we got in at, I don't know, it's sort of 6 o'clock, had dinner, everyone's going back to go to bed, and out of the shadows comes Mick Moylan. You would maybe remember.
Yeah.
So Mick Moylan was literally hiding behind a pole in the shadows and just popped out, white hair, was like, come with me. And I was like, I don't know who this bloke is. Follow him into a room and it's just pitch black. And I could see there's figures sitting around this room, and there's a laptop and there's just light on one man's face, and it's Choco Williams.
Oh, right?
And there's just light beaming on him. He's like looking up. It's like a horror movie. It's like, g'day, Scully. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, maybe he spun the laptop around. He goes, watch this vision. It didn't say a lot, other than hello, Scully. Span around and said, watch this. Played a kick in. And it was this piece of play where, a guy was kicking in and then he hit the space bar as the ball's about to hit the foot. And he goes, what should he do here? And I look at there and I go, there's an open bloke in the pocket. And he's like, nah. There's a tall ruckman out past 50. I kick it long to him. Nah. There's a bloke running through the middle of the ground. I go, I'll torp down the middle. Nah. And I literally was just like, mate, I don't know what you want me to do. And he like unpauses it and there's no one on the mark. And he goes, well, I wanted you to tell me you're going to run it and take bounce and take it on down the middle of the ground. And I thought, same as your mate. I was just like, there's no way this bloke picks me. Anyway, he talks about another 5 minutes, and then as I'm leaving, he goes, righto, that's all fine, mate. He goes, I'm about to speak to another 70 kids today. How am I going to remember you? And this is on the spot. This is 17-year-old me. And
that was exactly what it was.
It was like a movie. I turned around, looked at him, I go, you'll remember me, mate. And then I walked out. And that was the last time I ever heard from the Port Adelaide Football Club. Can you imagine saying that to Choco Williams? You played under him.
Oh, there's method to his madness. I mean, I remember one stage the club was interviewing for a fitness coach, and the person who came for the interview probably didn't look like an AFL fitness coach if he's not a sort of know what I'm getting at. Yep. So Choco's wheeled him out in the oval and said, mate, you need to do a 2K time trial. You need to do it under this time to be a chance to get the job. And he's not even a player.
And did he do it?
Yeah, he did it. He saw this player just run around. Yeah, so he gave a crowd. I don't know if he got the time limit that Choco set, but anyway, there was method to his madness, and he's had an amazing ability to get the best out of people along the journey, though.
Well, that's right. He's your premiership coach, and so I know these stories are coming from respect. I can only, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I know most premiership players really highly value and respect their head coach. So he's your first coach. Talk to us a bit about the journey you had as a player under him.
Yeah, so it was a different era. I mean, it was you had to earn your stripes. Like we'd finish training, the Choco go, righto, if you haven't played a game, pick up the cones. It was all that sort of stuff. It was going back to having to work hard to build the respect of him and the players and stuff. And there was nothing wrong with that. You wouldn't change any of that. What Choco was unbelievable at was just the fundamentals of football, like the fundamentals of kicking and handball. And there was a tactical side of it. Don't get me wrong, because you have to be good at that. But the amount of craft he would make you do. Everyone talks about craft now. Like 20 years, 25 years ago, it was, his philosophy was, if you can't kick a tennis ball straight off your foot, you're not going to be able to kick a footy. So sometimes if some people come and watch us train, they'll be like, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, we're kicking tennis balls together. He'd just have all this quirky stuff to do, like, even a bit of visualization. So, like, if we were kicking to a forward leading out, we had to practice different kicks. So he'd be like, right, I want you to practice to do the spar bath kick, right? I used to call it the spar bath kick. So what the spar bath kick was, a kick, so in front of the forward, there was a kick that was a little bit high, had a bit of loop. So if it landed in the spar bath, it would stop. And then you'd call another kick. So it was a spar bath kick, and there was this kick and that kick. And all it was just teaching you, like, the feel and the fundamentals. And then when you look back at it, you go, it was a way ahead of it. And even back then, like, the coding side of the game, like, it was probably driven by Walshy a bit as well, but they were like coding games back then. Like, when we were doing our reviews and stuff 25 years ago, we're watching the edits of what we just did or our opponent did. So he was just at the forefront of all that stuff. So, he was quirky. Like, the old one where if we lost by more than 60 points in the game, we'd rock up and we'd have to carry bricks for an hour around the oval. He'd be down the beach at 4 a.m, swim around the jetty. Like, it was you had to deliver, and the non-footy side of it was he was pretty big on getting to know the players and their partners and stuff like that. So, because Choco wouldn't drink, like never drunk,
right?
Have his pink lemonade, and but he'd be the most sociable guy. So he'd do quirky stuff, like we'd have like a fancy dress night, and everyone had to get up and dance and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's all this stuff that you just hate, bro. there was method to his madness, you know. So yeah, he was enjoyable to play under.
Yeah, so it sounds like a bit of a not train hard, play hard, but train hard and then build culture. Culture gets thrown around a little bit. Answer that if you want. You right?
Sorry, yeah, Sab, yeah. Sab, 5 minutes on there.
Oh, I could just see.
Sorry, mate.
No, that's fine, mate.
Can you edit that?
Yeah, we'll edit it. Or we might just leave it there.
Not.
Yeah, business time. No, well, it just sounds like, culture gets thrown around a lot, right? You just hear it all the time. Oh, yeah, good culture, bad culture. But in the end, like I look at it, and you would be the same. It's about connection with your teammates and the coaching staff. And if you can build that, you can do what you blokes did. So 2004, you win a premiership. You only got to club in 2000. So a pretty quick build into like winning it all. Like, do you reflect on that? Like, you were pretty young when you won it.
Oh, mate, I definitely do because, so 2000 I got there. So 2001 was my first season at Port. Didn't play any games that year. Played 6 in my second, 12 games in my third because I couldn't get in the team. I mean, 2001, 2 and 3, we were winning like 18 games a year.
Yeah.
And basically just then tanking in the finals, but it was hard to get a game. And we won more games in Brisbane over that period. However, they were just a lot more superior team in the big games. So we were very successful. It's hard to get in. But yeah, 2004 was actually my first full season of AFL footy.
Wow.
And it was enjoyable. And it was interesting, like, probably didn't like understand. You understand the severity of winning an AFL flag. But I remember sitting in my draft years, myself, Sean Burgoyne and Kane Corns. And I remember sitting Mad Monday with Sean and Kane, and we're like 21 or 22 at the time. We're like, how good is this? Like, we're going to win a few more of these. Because you just didn't understand like how hard it was to win, how hard they are. Like, your first full season of AFL before you win a flag.
Yeah.
Or your third year in the system. And you just don't take it. You don't understand how hard it is. Compared to winning a flag, say you play 12 years, you're 30 years old, and you win a flag, you're like, you understand how hard it is. So it was an interesting space to be in, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so young as well. You mentioned him before, and I haven't had too many people on the pod that have been able to speak about him, but Phil Walsh. And we lost a great man and a good football man. With his time in Adelaide, but he coached at West Coast for a number of years after he was with you blokes, and probably certainly up there with one of the best coaches I played under. But you had him earlier than that, so you said he was sort of someone that was really breaking barriers even back then.
He was. I mean, Walshy, I was really close with him. He'd flew back when he was at West Coast. He'd fly back for our wedding, flew back for my buck show. So he was my coach from sort of day one, in the midfield sort of role, and so he just laid a really good foundation of what it required to be an AFL footballer at a young age. So
yes,
like work ethic and like the thing with Walshy though is that if you had to work on your ground balls, it's not a coach that's going, mate, you got to work on your ground balls. It's like, mate, we're coming here tomorrow on your day off, both of us, and we're working on your ground balls. He'd be out there with you. When you reviewed your game with him, it was like a masterclass. Like it's like you're one-on-one with the best teacher in the world. It was such a treasure when you look back at it, and it was like I always said, like if you're prepared to work hard, and go over and above and be a good team player, he will give you everything. But back then, right, Walshy was a little bit abrasive too. Like if you went in his midfield group or if he cut corners a little bit, he'd walk past you and not talk to you.
Yeah.
And then it was after, so I was lucky to have him all that period, and he was a genius, right? Absolute genius tactical. Then he went to you guys at West Coast.
Yeah.
And he came back and he was like totally different. He was very different. Like I saw this massive change in him. I think Busher must have had a huge impact on him.
Right.
And he had that accident in Peru where he got hit by a truck, hit by a bus, sorry, and he got severely injured. And he wasn't that sort of abrasive Walshy or either loved you or hated you. He was like the everyone man. Like it was just this unbelievable thing that he had around him.
Yeah.
And I was able to have him again back at when Kenny came in for my last few years. So I had him all those years before then, the last few years, and he'd gone to another level with his coaching, but more about how he was with the players. And then it was good to see him get a chance. But he was just like, I mean, I think any player that got to spend some significant time with him is super lucky, because he would have made everyone. He's made everyone better.
Just a driver of standards. I broke his ribs one day. He used to get on the back. He used to get on the bags. We'd be doing the just 3v2 weave handball, and he used to be how he used to speak like, move, like, let's go. It's like, had this deep booming voice, and he'd be in there smacking blokes around the head, and so I thought, and I was pretty young at the time, I thought, I'll go as hard as I can here to coach in there, and I just got him, on the pad, straight up and down, and broke 3 of his ribs, but he didn't move. He stayed out there, and he was like wincing and stuff. Anyway, broke his ribs, but he was. We won a wooden spoon in 2010, and then we made a prelim the next year, and it was off the back of Phil Walsh. Like, no doubt about it. He brought the press in for us, and like you said, mate, like he'd have this table on his wall, and you'd have to book in, and you'd have like 30-minute slots with the entire squad. He'd be there from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. going through every player's clips for 30 minutes each. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just, I think, like, when you reflect, like, with Walshy, and you always knew where you were at. Like, like sometimes you have a coach and you're like, where am I at? Like, like, I don't really know where does he think I'm going all right at the moment? Or does he think I'm going shit? Like, I just never had any of that with Walshy. And so either way, you just knew. You knew where you're at. You knew what you had to do. You knew what you did well and knew what to improve on. And it's something simple, right? But he did it really well. But in terms of the tactical stuff, I mean, he revolutionised the game, I reckon, 3 times over 12 years with, because he was a massive NFL player, and he'd just watch other sports. And you're right, he brought the press in. He brought the, I think he even made a board, when he talks about ground ball gets and like change from stoppage. That's Walshy, I reckon. Like he was talking about stuff before it was even the thing. Yeah. So yeah, amazing legacy, and that's one of the best things about footy, isn't it? You come across some amazing people, and he was one of them, top of the tree.
So let's keep talking about people, your teammates. And I want to talk about the actual flag you won, but, your teammates of that era, which is prime time Port Adelaide as far as I'm concerned. Like, I was still a footy fan. I was sort of, 14, 15, 16 watching you blokes play, but you had some great teammates, like some ripping teammates. Talk about some of the big time players you played with back then.
Yeah, so we had this, by 2004, we had this unbelievable 2003, 2004, we had the unbelievable team of talent, and then it mixed in with some real tough sort of players as well. So, I mean, the Burgoyne brothers, Wanganeen, guys that can just turn games in their head. Probably the most underrated player ever is Roger James. He was a freak. I mean, he was just a gun. And then you had someone like the skill level of Stewie Jew, Warren Treaders, the Corns brothers. Like, we were just stacked. It was just an unbelievable team. And then we had, even like Brendan Lade was an unbelievable ruck. Like, even though rucks could kick and had good skills and could kick goals, we just had this unreal team. And then they started adding in some like real toughness. So Kari, obviously, tough as nails. He really lifted the standard there. And then we got Dimmering like for a year or two. He was pretty much done, but he just had to come on and just try and intimidate and smash blokes. And then we obviously had Choppy as well. So we had this beautiful blend of talent and toughness as well, which is what we probably needed in the end to win the flag against someone like Brisbane.
A fair bit of coaching and media talent and probably, Port Adelaide talent coming out. Like, so Cornsey with what he's gone on to do Kane variety. Chad, of course, coached for a long time. He's just finished up this year. Warren Treadray is on the board at Port Adelaide. You've got Stewie Jew, head coach, Dimmer Hardwick, head coach. Yeah. Carr, head coach.
Yeah.
I'm probably missing
Brendan Lades at the Bulldogs. Yep. Josh Marnie played at the flag. He's high up at AFL. I think he might be back at club level now. And then our coaching team, right? So Choco, obviously, we had Clarko in our coach's box.
Did you?
We had Dean Bailey. We had Phil Walsh.
Wow.
So, but when you talk about, so Adam Kingsley. So our grand final day.
Yes.
And we had unbelievable coaches and we'll train well, but the footy IQ on our team was off the chart. So things would just happen out there. Tactical stuff would happen out there before even the runner had to come out, because you had the likes of Kingers, Dewey, Kari, Brendan Laird was super smart, footy brain. The list went on, and these guys just saw the game so well, Dimmo and that, and they were just making game adjustments.
Yes.
It's been amazing to see where everyone's gone afterwards, but it was a highly talented and smart football list.
The actual day itself, you spoke about the, I guess, great season you had without winning a premiership, and then actually being able to do it in 2004. How much did that have to do with it, do you think, being able to actually get it done?
Yeah, like, because mate, like the pressure over here was like leading into it, like the previous 2 years, winning a lot of games of footy. Like, it was. And you've been part of a 2-team town. It was, it was brutal. It was, choke. Everyone knows about the chokers tag and Choco doing the tie thing, and the pressure was enormous. So it was more of a relief. The preliminary final the week before was the most high pressure game ever against St Kilda. And we were playing shit house, but Fraser Gehry kicked his 100th goal.
Did he?
And kicked his 100th goal. And mate, Roger James single-handedly was keeping us in the game, and everyone was playing shit house, like terrible. Fraser Gehry kicks his 100th goal. Everyone runs on the field, and that was the turning point. We're able to regroup and reset.
Really?
Oh mate, it was hands down. If he didn't kick his 100th goal, I don't reckon we win that game.
Wow, that's a good story.
Yeah, it's full on. And then I think Choco's wife, Pauline, she passed out in the grandstands because of the pressure towards the end. Yeah, no, mate, it was full on. So then we go to the grand final, and the grand final was like, it felt like it was a really weird feeling, because it felt like, because we got over the hurdle of the prelim, we weren't able to do the previous 3 years. We had this feeling of, if we all just do our job, we got this. Mm. And it was such a cool space to be in, because there's not many times in your career where you look around the room and you go on, yeah, if we just do our job, we're going to win. And you would have experienced that when you're in when you guys are at the peak of your powers.
Yes.
And that's the thing, like, you miss that. Like, that's unreal when you've got that total buy-in.
And you played against that Brisbane side at the time. They clearly had that as well. Now you blokes were good enough, but like that, they were a dynasty.
Oh mate, it was like when they put the team up, put the Brisbane team up, you're like, where do you start? So like, the Kari would go to Vossi. Kane would go to Simon Black.
Yes.
I'd normally get Ackermanis. Then they still had like Lappin, and like it was just McRae and all these guys had this unbelievable team.
Yes.
Not to mention the bookends that they had as well.
Yes.
So it was pretty intimidating, and they were big guys, right? So grand final day, I'm 21, skinny little wog from Perth, and I've got Vossi, the Scott brother. They're like animals. I'm like, I don't even belong out here. I just want this. I just get the win and get out of here alive. It was a special day, and and then obviously you said the enjoyment of your supporters and your family and all that sort of stuff. So it was unreal.
Because Brisbane going to 4-peat that day, or they were at least trying to. Yeah,
and they were like we got them at a time where they were pretty. I mean, they'd been up for 3 years, they'd been up for 3 or 4 years,
yes.
Like hard, tough, brutal. And we got them when they were pretty much done. But they were busted up. Jonathan Brown's knee was no good. I think Lappin had broken ribs and played. A few of the other guys were massively underdone as well. Like, Alistair Lynch came in with a hammy and did it, and then him and Wakelin had a punch up. And so we got them at a good time. And we sort of knew... like Choco, I remember Choco saying that if we're with them at halftime, we've got them covered, because mate, we had amazing running ability. Like the Burgoynes and Choppy and that they got going in the second half, and just no one could go with them.
Did you tag that day?
I started on the bench that day, and what they did was we started Sean Burgoyne on Ackermanis as like basically a run with role.
Yeah,
and then we got to halftime, and like I said, like Walshy and Choco wanted to get all of our elite players off the chain and just run and take the game on. So Sean, the first half I was playing a few different roles, and then the second half they're like, mate, you're an Acker, whole second half. Sean, you're off the chain playing forward and on ball. and he goes forward, kicks a few goals. I was able to sort of more dominant. So I was, when you're going well, it's easier to stop these superstars. When they got their tails up, it's like you're getting a bit nervous out there. Yeah.
How bloody good. How were the celebrations?
Yeah, it was big. That was huge, wasn't it? Bloody hell. Where did we start? Where did we end?
Well, on the ground, I mean, you mentioned it briefly before, but the Choco Williams, we spoke to Treaders at Gather Round at the start of this year, and he sort of told that story about it being about the sponsors or whatever. Scott. But
yeah, Alan Scott, yeah.
At that stage, you blokes on the ground. You wouldn't have even known that was going on.
No, we didn't. No, we heard the crowd sort of going nuts a little bit, but the euphoric moment when the siren goes, and it like living you're living your boy your childhood dream. Like it's unbelievable. Like you just never ever think you're going to be able to have the chance to do anything like it. So it's very surreal to start off with, and then you just go into the cool moments. Like I remember the best moment apart. Once you see your family and friends and teammates going back out at the MCG when the stadium's empty, and putting the cup in the middle. And standing around arm in arm with your teammates singing the song with a beer in your hand. Like, take me back.
That's good.
Yeah, take me back.
I got goosebumps.
Oh, mate, that's just, that's cool. And then it all started back in Adelaide and Alberton Oval and all that sort of stuff. I'll tell you a story though. So we got to the Friday night. So the next Friday night after winning the flag, it was the BNF night. And me and Kari were living together at that point in time.
Yeah.
So I woke up Friday. I'm like, far out at the BNF tonight. Oh, mate, I couldn't find my suit. Mate, you can imagine. I was out all week. I didn't know where anything was. I'm like, I'm going to race into Ferrari formal wear in Rundle Street, walk in horror suit, and race home, go to the BNF, right? So I've got this suit. Anyway, so that's what day 5 is. Day like it's been a solid week. BNF that night. I had to take the suit back on the Saturday.
Yep.
And me and Cara living in North Adelaide, a few k's from town. So I was like, right, I could take the suit back. So jumped in the car, driving to Rundle Mall, get out of the car, walk into Ferrari formal wear, and they go, mate, and one of the guys goes, mate, can I help you? And I said, yeah, I've come to bring my suit back. And he's gone, yeah, where is it? It was sitting in my bedroom. I'd driven there to take my suit back. It's still in my room. So I went back home, drove home. Mate, he hadn't tail between the legs, right? And I'm like, it was rad. That just spun me out. And I'm like, I just need to get home to Perth with my mum. I was walking the house at Kari. I need to get out of here. I've had enough. So
you've just made me think of a bloody brilliant story. So I'll reverse. So you're a West Australian winning a premiership for an Adelaide team. Sam Butler, a South Australian, wins the flag for a West Australian team, West Coast. Day 4 or 5, similar setup. Mate, he's cooked. He's had enough. He's going, I need a shower. Gets in the shower, turns the shower on. He's bleary-eyed. He's sort of stumbling around. Shower goes on, and he's sort of looking around. And he's like, fuck, something's not right here. Don't feel very good. It's all dark. Like it's like he's like, fucking hell, like what have I done to my eyes? Fucking looking around. And he starts freaking out because he's like, am I going blind? Like, if I had that much of a crack, I'm going blind. And it sort of, as it gets hotter and it's steam, like it's getting worse and to the point we can't see out of his eyes. And he's like, fuck. Anyway, scrambling around, jumps out and he sort of like puts his hand over his face. He's wearing sunglasses. He was in the shower with sunnies on. He thought he was going blind. He was wearing sunnies.
Yeah, so premiership celebrations can bring the best out in you sometimes. So
I'm just imagining you walking into the suit hire place with nothing in your hands, like, g'day guys, Dom Cassisi here.
Yeah, mate, it was not my proudest moment. But anyway.
That's bloody good, mate. Do you boys keep in touch? I've just taken the mantle of making sure we've got our yearly catch-ups this year. So we've waned a little bit, I'll be honest. There's boys playing, we've got guys interstate. It's a bit of a shit show and no one's really taking the lead. So yeah, I'm pushing forward with that this year. You boys catch up often?
Yeah, we do. We try to. Because you know what it is. We're quite poor at it actually as well as a group. there'd be like, 4 or 5 of us that will like always go. You've always got your
Yep.
you've always got your 4 or 5 best mates everyone has out of the group, but then it's the broader group to come together. So until someone takes ownership of it, and so for us, about 3 or 4 years ago, was Toby Thurston's, who's
Nice.
all-time great bloke. And Toby's just gone, nah, I'm sick of it. I'm taking control of this past players thing, and he's been great. Like, and that's what it takes. You need someone to actually just commit to it and organise it, and then try and rally the troops to get there. But yeah, we'll try and do a couple of things a year. At least one good proper catch up. But even like Chad, the season just finished, and obviously Chad's finished up at Port, so there was probably 10 of us that caught up for lunch with him, and so the connection you have with your Premiership teammate sort of live on.
It was funny. I was researching for this, mate, and we spread the net pretty wide. Anyway, of course, something about Kane popped up. You could be searching for anything, and something for Kane would pop up. But I just found it interesting. I wanted to ask you about it because you had a bit of a clip. You gave him a clip in public, which I read as Premiership teammates, you would have had a lot harder conversations than what you had to say in public, in man-to-man, about footy and about life. But the way this article read, it was like, huge rift between Dom Cassisi and Kane Cornes. But I read it as blokes who have played 300 games together know exactly what – I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Look, it's a little bit of that. There's definitely an element of that. I mean, like, me and Kane got drafted the same year. We were very similar in some ways. Like, we weren't afraid to work hard and do extras and make the most of our career. I was a lot more of going out with the boys though as well. Kane he didn't really enjoy that side of it. But for some reason, we were actually really we were really close when we were at the club. Like, we were very different, but it's sort of like we were really close. We roomed together when we travelled interstate.
Yes.
And so it was actually a really cool relationship because we were so different, and like, because he was so intense, it would be like, mate, chill out, come on, mate, like,
yes.
And we had some great times. So me and Kane used to room together. This is an absolute true story, right?
Thank you.
Me and Kane used to room together, and so if we were travelling interstate, we'd land in Melbourne, and Kane would be the first to throw his bag on the bus and sit at the front. Yeah, and then the rest of the lads would take, like, a group of us taking it time, who cares, like, throw it and sit back. And then so when we get to the hotel, he sat at the front so he could get off the bus first to get his bag, to be the first one in our room when me and him were rooming together to get the key to get in the room. And because he loved having control of the remote. Like, he loved having control of the remote. So to the point where, right, so we go to the room, and then we have a team meeting. He'd hide the remote before we go to team meeting. So then it progressed, right? Then it progressed to him taking the remote to the team meeting. Because I'd find it and I'd fucking piss him off. So then he's taking the team meeting. So you can imagine we're in one room, 2 beds. And so, mate, I thought, fuck it. So I'll ring concierge or reception and go, hey, look, there's no remote in our room. So they'd bring one. So one room, 2 beds, Kane's on one, I'm on the other, and we've got a remote each. It was just, mate, and then like, we'd be going to bed, and he'd be like, and it's funny, like, it's cool, it's actually like really funny. We'd be going to bed, and he's like, mate, you're breathing too loud. Like, mate, well, what do you want me to do, mate? Like, I have to breathe to survive. Like, so we had some great moments.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then so it's all good. I mean, to be fair, like, anything that I've said on that particular one occasion, because I'm not really in the media a lot, it's not something I hadn't texted him about, or me and him had spoken about. And I saw him last week in the media centre, and we're like, "Hey, going, mate? Like, it's all good." And like, to be fair, I feel like I probably wouldn't have. I mean, it takes a lot on yourself to be a good AFL footballer, right? But I do feel like getting drafted the same year as Kane, because he was such a demon at trying to be get the best out of himself. I do feel like he dragged me along a little bit in that space. You know, like him going to the club on the day off to do extras. I'm like, well, we got drafted together. If you're gone, I better go too. You know, like, so I feel like he did drag me along in that space, which helped my career in that part of it, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think like
You got to
reflecting.
give a credit where it's due sometimes. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Just he's getting looked after nicely from multiple levels. But no, I just think the important part there is like, I don't know, you go through a lot as teammates, especially ones you play a lot of footy with, especially ones you get drafted with. And so people don't usually understand the context of that. They just see maybe a one-liner from you or a one-liner from Kane, and it's like, oh, well, you know, it's not going to go forward any further than there. But brilliant context, mate. That's one of the better stories I've heard. Well done. Just wanted to speak about the captaincy, mate. I mean, what's it like getting that honour and captaining your footy club?
Yeah, it was it was unreal actually. It was because the history of our club, we're in the number one jumper, you know, and you see the past greats that have won it, you know, even back before Magpies days. It's a huge honour, but it took me a little while to sort of feel like I was worthy, you know, like I was probably a bit of a outlier to get it. I don't reckon, I sort of know I wasn't Choco's first choice. He was coach at the time, so we worked through that a little bit.
Who was?
Oh, I think if he had his choice, it might have been like Chad or Sean at the time.
Yep.
But the club went through a different model. That's when the club's first year of, I reckon, first or second year of going through the leading teams model, where it wasn't like, oh, you're our best player, you're the captain. It was that whole, you know, player input. You know, you've been through the process, but
like holistic leadership,
identifying what trademarks and behaviours the group want to live by, and the players sort of voting on who lives and breathes that stuff. So it's sort of, I was born out of being captain out of that process. If that wasn't in, there's no chance I would have probably got it.
Yep.
So I had a bit of insecurity at the start, to be totally frank. You know, I reckon the first article was the day I got named captain was not Choco's first choice or some stuff like that. So
brilliant.
It came with a lot of insecurity. But I was very lucky that I had Dean Brogan, who just a great teammate, all time, one of you know, just an all time best mate, if you know what I mean. There's always there for you. So, and I remember he came over, and this is literally the day after, and he knocked on my door, and he's going, mate, you're all right? And I said, yeah, no, I'm good. He goes, mate, look, just for what it's worth. It's for what it's worth, mate. It's your we're yours now, and mate, whatever you say goes. And there's, mate, I'm behind you 100%. And he was a bit more of a larger than life character in our group. Had a lot of presence, a lot of pull.
Yeah.
So that, like, you know, that was gold. So I'm like, okay, you know, like, we're all right here. So, and then that being really enjoyable, but I had to work into it a little bit. Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
Gee, that's strong from someone like that. And again, if you're not in the footy club, you hear Dean Brogan, and you're like, oh, well, who cares if Dean Brogan says that? But without knowing him, someone that a lot of people would have, you know, really gravitated towards, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, not just.
Yeah, 100%. And mate, you know what other thing? I mean, I don't reckon people really understand. When I say people, like, you know, supporters of footy and that, and you could probably test this too. How insecure we are. Like, I reckon some of the best players I played with were, when I say insecure, like, is insecure the right word? Like, for example, like Robbie Gray, what gave him confidence was just like doing the most craft than anyone and being like ticking every box during the week. And the same was for like Chad and that as well. Like, they only had the confidence out of the work they did. If they didn't have that work there was a lot of insecurity there about, am I good enough? And I was a bit the same as well. But I don't know what you feel about that, but I reckon it's a massive thing in footy players at the top level.
Yeah, well, I think externally people think, oh, you know, a bunch of arrogant athletes rolling around, but that's not the case at all. Yeah, no, I
it's not.
fully agree with that.
We're all mental midgets.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. At some point in there, Ken Hinkley, is that sort of similar time? Like Ken coming in?
Yeah, so, mate, I was captain during the club when we had, mate, I don't even remember, we had tarps on the seats. We were getting pumped every week. we were getting like 15,000 people.
So hang on. So I do remember that. And I remember I was playing in those games. So what happened there? You won a flag in 2004.
2004 won the flag. 2007 we make a grand final against Geelong, record loss.
Yep.
We played. We were nowhere ready to play in the grand final. We played beyond ourselves that 6 weeks leading into the granny, I reckon. And then obviously, the list started to sort of, rebuild a little bit, and then Choco 2009 lost his job. Matty Primus came in. The club was struggling financially, so we probably didn't have enough resources around Matty at the time, and it becomes a slippery slope. We're getting smashed on the field, and next minute we've got tarps in the seats, getting 12,000 people. And I remember waking up one day, and this story feels like it's something from 300 years ago, but it's only like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
As big as the game is today, I remember waking up and the back page of the paper was Port Adelaide players aren't getting paid next week. And mate, so I had like 15 missed calls from the boys, and they're like, mate, we getting paid next week or what? So well, I'm having to dig into that stuff. I'm having to ring the club to go, what's the go here?
What was the go? What year is this? What was the go?
We're talking like between 2009, probably 2011.
So what was the
go?
Kenny
came in 2012.
What was happening?
It was crazy. And then the club had a big debt demolition night where we try to get people to throw money into clear debt. So mate, it was full on. And then end of 2011, Matty Primus got the sack, and so at that stage we had I think Brett Dungerson, our president, had stepped down. Matty Primus got the sack. So it was like the club that's when Geelong flew over to try and get Boki as well.
Yeah.
And then we go to the off season, and J-Mac, John McCarthy, passed away on the footy trip.
Yeah.
And like that is just like, we were like, I don't, it's easy to forget, but I don't think there's any lower point in a club at that point in time in many, many years where you got no money, no coach, no president at the time, and then then you could endure such a tragedy like that, because like Sky, you get drafted, you're going to get delisted, you're going to get injured, you're going to win some games, lose some games, but states that you're just never prepared for that sort of thing of one of your brothers sort of not coming back, if you know what I mean. So that was heavy.
Mate, I've got close family friends that are family of John's, and that was a tragedy, mate. And not that I'd forgotten it had happened. I guess I'd forgotten the timing of it all.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to get
irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because the tragedy itself, and the family and that sort of stuff. But it's just, I guess, it's a painting a picture of the time of that time. So then Kenny gets announced as coach, and he rings me and he's like, oh mate, quick, chew on the fat on the phone quickly, and he's gone, mate, captaincy, just want to get a feel for it, mate. I've heard good things about you, but I want to get a feel for it when I come in. Probably get a feel for it, mate. Call who's going to be captain. Might be you, might not be. And I just said, mate, I'm going to make your first decision really easy for you. I'm not captain, mate. I'm done. I'm cooked. I just want to go back and enjoy my footy. Boki's ready, and that was that was like a bit of a relief at the time because of everything we've gone through.
Yeah.
And so that was a really good conversation to have with Ken up front, and we still have a good relationship because we're just honest,
Yeah.
Plus, I'd probably read the writing on the wall a bit too.
Well, yeah. Jump before you're pushed.
Like, I'll get ahead of you. I'll get in for you.
Did so like as much as there would have been financial stuff, it feels like the majority of the work would have had to have been, tying the playing group back together. Like,
yeah, well, like I remember, I'm just, because you think of like the McCarthy family so much, you sort of feel bad digging into it sometimes because it, I'm sure it just, brings back memories for them. But, so you can imagine that, like, so say 10 guys went to Vegas, and then there's 9 coming back, right? So I made a very clear point that no matter where any player was, they had to come to Adelaide and be at my house. So we're at my house, we're at Schultz's house, Jay Schultz's for a night or two, and then we're at mine. So when these guys got back from Vegas, they landed at the airport and they come straight to our house. And there was like, you can imagine the media were just all over it on this, in the street, whatever. And in our house at the time was every player, every parent, like all the parents, their siblings. So we had like maybe 120 people in the house, counsellors and that sort of stuff. And I reckon the single most important thing I ever did in my footy career, if I was to put it one thing, it was that day. Because the 9 guys were in the house and they didn't know where to look. They thought that we were thinking that it was their fault. Like, why wasn't someone with him and all this sort of stuff. And so Keith Thomas, our CEO at the time, just grabbed the boys and we went upstairs and we had a really good sort of, chat about things, and because it's crisis management, you know what I mean? And then the boys come downstairs and we had a few beers and it was just tears, hugs, but connection. Because there'd be nothing worse than those guys coming back from Vegas, going straight home on their own for 8 weeks until day 1 of pre-season and thinking all of that stuff. So it was a reflective moment, no doubt about it. And it's just, I look at it and I go like, how lucky to be in an organised, or, how lucky to be in a footy club in those moments, really, to be able to deal and mourn all together. Because in the real world, like, got a finance company, stuff like that happens, mate, and you don't have that support. Like, it's not like, so as you just got to be grateful, I think. I know it's a pressure cooker at times, but you got to be grateful for the environment that we get put in at that age, I think. Yeah,
and mate, we speak about all these memories about footy and coaches and teammates and all that sort of stuff, and then you speak about grief and loss, and it becomes sort of bigger than footy, doesn't it? But you're right, footy clubs for grief. Like, I lost my old man when I was younger at a footy club. I lost one of my best mates in 2018. Had a lot of loss, but footy clubs are sort of that connector, aren't they? That's why I asked that question. Yeah.
How you probably often think, I wonder how would I have handled this if I didn't have all this, all this love, all this. I know you got love from your family and friends, but to go into the footy club and that, I reckon it's something that can get lost a little bit, I reckon, at times.
I agree. Mate, you hung up the boots in 2014.
Yeah.
Retired, delisted halfway through the year somewhere. I'm joking, delist.
Well, it was funny. Like, I sort of knew, me and Kenny had a chat, I think pre-season that year. And then I actually started the season not too bad. And then I hit the wall, like, might have been around 4 or 5, where, like, you're going into game sore, you look second rate. Like, it was amazing to go through because, like, your first 50, 70 games, I talk about the insecure thing, right?
Yeah.
It's for me, it was all like, I don't belong out here. Like, am I good enough? Am I going to make it? I feel really uncomfortable out here.
Yeah.
And then you get through that and you have that window in your career where you feel like you can beat, no, I don't care what I'm playing on today, like, bring it on sort of thing.
Yeah.
You can hold your own or do your job for the team. But tell you what, those last 10 games was literally going full circle to the start. Like, and you got all this experience under your belt over 14, and you go back to that little kid that's like, I'm not good enough anymore. Like this, it was like, and I was like, and so it was a relief to get away from that, because then you just know you're done at that point. But we had an open conversation with Kenny, and then I had to overplay my last game, round 18, like a bit of a send-off game, and it was like enjoyable. Like the club, from day one to whatever it was, 12, 13 years later, like, there's not one thing that I actually can't think of one thing that I can say that the club could have done better for me.
Wow.
Yeah, at all. Like, I couldn't even try. Yeah, so I just feel super lucky about that as well.
Yeah, and we saw Ken and Boki finish up a couple of weeks ago. So I assume that it looks like it's still continuing. It looks like they did that really well with the boys, sending them off.
Yeah, they do. Like, the clubs, I feel like Port have nailed that stuff really well. Like, the player retention stuff. I think they've been really strong in that space as well. So culturally, it's always been a pretty good place, and I think that might come with like the history of the place. It's been around for a long time. Like I know in the AFL, but that the history of the stuff does lead into it. Like it does feel like there's a lot to lean on there in that connection stuff.
I love it, mate. That's a good way to finish up. That's enough questions from me. Before I let you go, I've got to ask a couple of questions from our fans and audience, and then got to try and turn this set into another BackChat thing. We're in the new studios, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube. It doesn't look very good. It will soon, don't worry. Mate, are you okay with that? A couple more questions from the fans?
Yeah, mate, let's review it.
Social media, not social media. That's right. That's my name, social media. Coming at you from social media here, mate. Camo Cox asks, I remember Dom's goal versus the Cats at Cardinia Park. What was his recollection? First home loss in a long time. I'm assuming Camo's do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you haven't seen it on YouTube, mate? Me kicking the winning goal in July.
Come on. Talk me through it.
Well, mate, so okay, so my job that day, right, was to play on Gary Ablett, right? And the instructions were, mate, we don't give a shit if you don't touch the ball as long as he doesn't have an impact. So about 3 minutes to go, Gaz gets the ball inside their forward 50, and mate, like broke my ankles. Like I look like a dick. If you can go back and watch it, there's 4 or 5 of us. So I go first, he goes that way. Someone fires in, he's that way. He does a spit and kicks a goal.
Perfect.
And mate, like Geelong back there, they just came after me, right? Scarlet, and they, mate, you had one job today, and you cost your team the game. You're shit. You had one. You couldn't even do the one job. The coaches didn't even care if you touched the ball. Why are you playing footy? Mate, just coming at me like, and they were so good at it. Yes. They were the best at it, right? And then, so I'm thinking, like, I've cost us the game here. Like, how embarrassing. That's when like another minute and a half goes by, and this ball spills out, and I've like, fuck, I've seen it, and I picked it up, and I'm on my left foot, which is good because I'm like, if I miss this, like, I'm on opposite foot. If I miss it, it's like, oh, well, it's opposite foot. And it was on the run, wasn't a set shot. So I eliminated a bit of pressure already. And then I nailed it. So I went from feeling like an absolute like piece of shit to like this euphoric feeling.
Did you carry on?
From tears to glory, an hour and a half. So then the siren goes, right? And I've got a choice to make. Am I right? Do I go back at him here? Siren's gone, do I go back at him here and just get into him? Yeah. Or just be humble? Right, so I just shut my mouth, and mate, someone must have been watching over me, and I went down the just shut my mouth path because 4 weeks later in the grand final in that record loss, mate, they would have just had a field day. So, mate, someone was watching over me that day.
You may never have come off the ground at the MCG if you had to have copped that barrage.
Fuck, you had me or something.
Hey, for what it's worth, I have seen the goal. I just wanted you to tell the story, mate. This one's from Saxon. This isn't bad. What did the club do with the tarps after you got fans again? Where did they go?
Well, I hope we burnt them because that was shocking, that stuff. Yeah, I know. And like the legacy lives on, like, between Crows and Port, like this the Crows fans go to.
Yes.
It's that question, where's your tarps,
Yes.
So we just dulled, but yeah, mate, hopefully they're burnt. I don't know.
That's very good. Last one from Jay Jaden, a second last one actually. Is it a strange feeling when you start wearing the number 1 as captain? Because that's a unique thing that Port Adelaide has.
Yeah, it is. It's strange. There's something that comes with it. There's no doubt about it. And it's a fantastic tradition. So it's sort of like, and if you even speaking to the past captains, it's like there is something that comes with it when you're putting on that number 1. No doubt about it.
What number were you before 1?
25.
And did you go back to 25?
Yeah, so then you go back to 25. Yeah.
I like that. That's very good.
Yeah, they keep it there for you for when you're done as captain.
Good. Mate, last question from the Eggman. How does Dom Cassisi like his eggs?
Yeah, I like my eggs sunny side up.
Nice.
Yeah, so just, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's me. I'm sunny side up.
I don't know. So I don't know if it's because, like all the different terminology between WA, like I'm from WA and SA. So there's some things that we say here that,
mate, there's palmies.
Some things that I say here from being from Perth and people go, what are you talking about?
palmies and palmers and long macs and strong lattes, and there'd be
and pints.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Mate, don't get me started on pints and schooners and pots, mate. That'll absolutely send me down off the wrong end. Hey, mate, we're going to finish up. Brilliant chat. Thanks for your time, mate. We'll have to actually have a beer in person, I reckon, though.
Yeah, do it. Let's do it.
I'm going to thank our sponsors before you go, mate. BackChat __ on socials. You know where to find everything. Paywise powering the podcast in season 2025. ID Athletic, Whippersnapper Whiskey, Mumba Digital, TABtouch, Shelter Brewing Co., Leaderville Precinct, Camera Electronic, On One Services, and Dommy, why don't you plug your own business while you're here? Or we're not doing that. You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, we do. We have funding options, mate. So we're a finance broker, financial planning business in South Australia. And we've got clients all around the place, fair few in Perth, actually.
So if I'm South Australia, so I don't have to be in South Australia. If I'm in Perth, I can come see you.
Perth, yeah.
How do we get in touch?
We can do loans anywhere. Pardon?
How do we get in touch?
Fundingoptions.com.au.
Yes.
Or hit me up if you're on Insta, DM, whatever it works. But as we're running a business, you take anything. Take a link from anywhere.
we used to run a segment called "You Send It, We'll Read It," or "We'll Wear It," or something.
Yeah, correct.
There we go. We are done and dusted. Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.